Hi everyone, this is Zach, and today I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to use Microsoft Power BI. Just for starters, Power BI is a tool that's very similar to Tableau, if you're familiar with that. And basically what it is a data visualization software. I'm using the desktop version right now, but there's a web-based version as well. I'm going to be making a series of videos that kind of covers a bunch of different topics in Power BI, but for right now, we're just going to start with an introduction. So when you open up Power BI, this is what you see. The first thing that you need to do in order to get at any data is you need to actually import the data. So we're going to start with this Excel file here. This is a very simple file that just basically shows sales information for a random company, what was sold, how much everything cost, that kind of thing. So the first thing you do is you go up here and you click on the Get Data button. And then you choose your data source. And as you can see, Power BI can connect to a wide variety of different sources. So I'm just going to say Excel, and then I'm going to grab that file. And then I'm going to load it in. And then over here on the right, you can see that table. So on the right-hand side here, now that I've expanded the table, you can see all of the different fields that existed within the Excel file. So item, order date, region, rep, this type of thing. So you might be thinking, okay, well, now what do I do? So we're going to just start with some very simple graphics. So let's just say you want to see which region of your company had the highest total sales overall. So we're going to click on region, and we're going to click on total. So as you can see up here, we've got 3 regions: Central, East, and West. And this is the order of the sales. Central made the most sales. So it's really kind of cool. So you just tell it what you're looking for, and then you just you just click a button basically. So you can see the total, it's a numeric field, so I just have the sum of all of the money. But we could change this around if we wanted to. We could say, well, what's the average sale in each region? And $464 all the way down to $414. But for right now, let's just assume that the total sales makes the most sense. Now, maybe you're interested in seeing, which items are most popular. So you can see if you click on just item, it'll put it in a table. We have binder, desk, pen, pen set, and pencil. Pretty simple. And let's say we want to display this in a different way. We're going to make a tree map. So we're going to say item, and let's say we just want to see, which items sold the most units. So we're just going to click on units. And then we can kind of drag this around. So we can see, that our binders and pencils were the most common of the units. So the first kind of thing we're going to do is we're just going to put some graphics on here, and then I'm going to show you how they all relate to one another. Another really important and kind of cool feature is what's called the slicer. So I'm going to click on the slicer. The slicer is a way of really just kind of selecting something more specific to zoom in on. So let's say we're going to slice this by rep. So let's just say these are all of our different sales representatives. So let's say we just want to see what Morgan sold. If we click on Morgan, we can see, she's responsible for the central region, and she made, $1,300 in sales. And we can bring in a date field. So we could count, we could look at the number of units over time. So if you look right here, to start, we've got 2015 and 2016, but we actually have more specific information than that. So if we want to drill down, I'll click on this drill down button and click on 2015, and I can see sales across each quarter. So let's say I want to just look in the 4th quarter, and we can see sales in each month in the quarter. And we can keep going and see, which days the sales happened on. And then if we want to go back up, we can go up, up. And so I'll leave this at the quarterly view. So these are just some very basic things that you can get at. So this kind of covers, like most of the very simple things. So now I'm going to show you one of the other features. So just like when we selected a name in the slicer, and you could see adjustments in other areas. If you click on a particular item, we can see where those items are selling. So binders. So now if we hover over central, we can see that in the central region, they sold a total of $11,000 of different things. But out of that $11,000, $5,700 of it was in binders. And then likewise with pens, we can see that the East has made the most pen sales, and no one seems to really want, no one really wants desks. So another feature is we could pull in, let's just say we want to know, we could pull in, like, we could just look at the unit cost of each item. So we can see what each of the items cost. So even though we sold only 10 desks, they cost $525 a piece. Another thing that you can do is, so initially when you select something, you kind of get this part of a whole hovering is what I'll call it, where you can see like the highlighted section in terms of the total. But I'm going to click on this Edit Interactions button. And as you can see, I have this top left graph selected. And everything kind of looks like a little pie chart when I hover over it. So I can change from highlight to filter, right? So I'm going to click on the filter button instead. And I'm going to do this with each of the graphs. So now I'm going to click this graph and kind of go through it. Oh, this one is not the right size. I'm going to change everything to a filter. So basically what I've done is, instead of now showing shading, if I click on a graph, your other information will just adjust rather than, oops, oh, I'm using the wrong button. I'm using the drill button, which is why nothing is happening. But let's say now I just click on central, right? You can see rather than things showing up in shades, it'll actually show me the aggregate, the aggregate numbers. And actually, when I did that, I noticed that all of my different unit cost, sort of changed, which means, and this is interesting, you can see that you usually, it's easy to do something wrong here. So, oh, here we go. So what we were doing before in this field was we were adding up the unit cost. So it's basically saying, just adding it all together. But now I've changed that to actually say, well, what is the real unit cost? So I took an average. So for each time it's sold, what's the average? It's going to be the same every time, right? So I could have chosen median. It would have probably been similar, if not exactly the same. For some reason, it's not coming through that way. But now you can kind of see a more realistic number. So you have to kind of be careful what data formats you're playing with. So these are just some of the very basic features here within Power BI. You can get more advanced. You can pull in additional tables, create relationships between your tables. You can take a look at all of your source data and kind of do things to it and create formulas and all sorts of stuff, but that can all come in later videos. But for now, I just wanted to kind of give you this very quick overview of how Power BI works. All right, thank you.